the guy who on a hunch just assumed that this girl was in on a robbery
and started tailing her on his free time.
Like he was told by his black superior, don't be so fucking racist. We're not doing this. Oh, you think because she's a black woman and she probably knows this black woman whose brother you killed that we had to talk about. And now you want to arrest her for bank robbery on a hunch that she might know some other woman that has no proof that she's been involved in anything? No. Hey guys, y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent big ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, and I'm here for yet another episode where we talk about things that we haven't seen, but I have to talk about that with somebody, and I got the same guy I always do because he's one of the best people with which to hold a conversation. One of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey! Right, thank you for having me as always, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about this week, ready to get into it as this train keeps chugging along the tracks. I enjoy it more and more because I am so indecisive when selecting things to watch. And I mean, it's talked about a lot on the internet with our generation, but I end up rewatching the same 4 shows and 30 movies because I'm so indecisive about new stuff, and just being forced upon me a movie I haven't seen. I'm loving it.
Yes, I'll agree with that. I do definitely fall into my holes and be like, no, I like this stuff over here. What about this thing? No. This. But yeah, so yes, like I said, we do a thing where it's like this guy hasn't seen a different movie or another one. We've been trading movies back and forth and enjoying the experience. This week, after last week we had The Departed and everything, a crime drama. We have another crime drama of a similar sense, well, not a similar sense, you know what I mean though, but another crime drama, and Set It Off, the black crime drama from the 90s, directed by F. Gary Gray. Yeah, F. Gary Gray, starring Queen Latifah, Vivica A. Fox, one of, if not my first celebrity crush.
Vivica?
Yeah, Vivica A. Fox, Jada Pinkett, and Kimberly Elise, something along those
lines.
lines.
Jada Pinkett can get it in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm normally not in the Jada camp. But yeah.
Jada Pinkett in this movie definitely was like, I agree. When I was younger, like, wow, Jada Pinkett. Will Smith's so lucky. But yeah, so Set It Off, it was set in the 90s and stuff. A little background film. It was, I believe, one of Queen Latifah's first, like, I think, serious roles on screen. Obviously it was pretty early in, well, not pretty early in, I think Jada had started doing things around that time, but I don't think it was her first thing. But Vivica Fox, great in it. So I knew it was always well accepted within the community, if you will. People, my compeers, compatriots, but I hadn't remembered whether or not the quality was exactly, if it was great or if it was just great because, hey, 90% black cast, big movie of seriousness that had some great acting moments in it, if not great acted altogether. So I was like, I hope this is as good as I remember it to be and stuff. But I hadn't asked a lot of people, and I was just threw it out on a whim last week because of what I knew about people had been getting comment that had watched this movie. I was like, hey, have you seen
Bill's
Set It
white.
Off?
You can say it. Hey, Bill's white.
Maybe like like this is.
I'm
a good
struggling
movie.
here finding movies. He's white.
Pretty much. Like Bill's white. Maybe maybe he hasn't seen it. Have
Yeah,
you seen Set It
and-
Off? And yeah.
And I hadn't. I've seen. I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn
Mm-hmm.
at any point in this conversation, obviously, but I feel like this was a big moment in the mid 90s for black led and black created cinema. And I've seen a lot of those, like Poetic Justice
Mm-hmm.
and Menace to Society, and I'm not going to keep listing films, but
Yeah.
I had not seen this one, and I couldn't tell you even how much of I was aware of its existence,
Yeah.
let alone hadn't seen it.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let me see. Because I knew you had seen the Menace to Societies and stuff. Because that whole, well, Bill's white, let me think of black movies. Because I've stated it before on here. Bill being more of a film connoisseur than myself, not making judgments about positive or negative, just stating fact. I knew you had seen a lot of like really good films. So if I were to try to
Right.
suggest those to you, I had to think of like smaller sections that are like, well,
Mhm.
this is a good film, but in this section. So like Menace to Society is usually seen as a black, like you said, maybe he hasn't seen it. Oh, he's seen it. He's seen this thing too. Okay. So that's why I'm like, well, Set It Off. You probably saw that too, but throw it out there.
I thought I had seen all of the pillars of that era.
Mhm.
But I would, and not to spoil my opinion on the movie already or anything, but I would throw that in there, throw Set It Off in there. And I'm surprised I hadn't even seen it
Yeah.
or heard of it. I'm shocked that there is not a high definition remaster yet. What the fuck is up with that? I had to watch this in standard definition like a fucking lunatic.
Get to see
What?
the grains.
Am I not living in 2022?
That's a good point, though. Why isn't there like a high def remaster of Set It Off?
Everything is in high definition. Bloodsport that we watched a couple of weeks ago, random ass 80s action movie was in high definition.
But not Set It Off.
And some would say maybe that's not the best. I still enjoyed my experience. It was just weird. It was just weird searching the movie, going to the spot where I had to rent it, and seeing SD next to the rent button. It was a very weird moment.
I can see that. We pretty much covered why you hadn't seen it as well as a background, but I guess let's get into it.
When did you first see it? Like, when do you remember it, or was it
When
just one of those movies that's
Alright.
just kind of always been around?
Technically, when I first saw it, it was definitely around its release.
Mm-hmm.
I was still at the age in my youth where plots didn't really stick with me. Not because I was just always just spectacle face value. Oh my god, especially as a kid. Just that's why I ended up listening to as many theme songs of shows but couldn't tell you shit about it. Like, oh, I love the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers theme song. Yeah, about so-and-so character. Who? They're on every episode. Oh, I know Chip and Dale, the Rescue Rangers. So when I saw that, well, like as a kid, would Set It Off, and I think I've stated on Whatever We Want podcast, as proud as I am to be of my race, growing up, I was always some kind of anathematic to reminders of how much of a struggle life is for black people. So whenever something came out as, oh, check out this seriously sad black thing to tell you how sad black life is, I always initially just kind of rejected it. So sad black movie with, four female stars or whatever. It wasn't something. While I knew I kind of enjoyed it as a kid, nothing really stuck with me, and it never really seemed like something I wanted to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it again, however, a few years ago. And by a few, I mean like 6 or 7, long enough for me to forget stuff about the movie. But
right,
or maybe not a few years ago, but in my adult life, I had seen it and was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, the movie's got stuff here and there that I like about it and enjoyed it." And then by the time I got around again, I was like, "I know I like that movie, but it's not like I watch it a lot." I know I saw a review of it a few years ago where every time Queen Latifah stole a card and did her repeated bit with the CDs and looking for a new album, the guy would edit the music in to be the Living Single theme song. So just a run of it. We are living. It's like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. So that's one of the things I had remembered would be occurring in here, and I was like, oh, damn, it's not the We Are Living Single theme song. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's why I hadn't really seen a lot of it. But when I first saw it, I was a kid, and like you said, pillar of black movies matter, for lack of a better phrase. You need to watch these in that moment. So I remembered that. Also, another thing that made me want to see it is the guy that plays is his janitorial thing. Leon? Not Leon.
Lawrence.
Luther.
The guy that plays Luther, Thomas Jefferson Byrd. Mm-hmm. I met him in high school. A friend of my mom's knew him. And I met him, talked with him, we went to chill with my mom's friend, and him one night. And he was talking about stuff and all this stuff, and they're like, yeah, he played Luther in the movie, and do. Also saw a movie Bamboozled that came out a little bit later than that about blackface that has Thomas Jefferson Byrd as a big role in it. Mm-hmm.
So
you and I have talked about that maybe in a future episode.
Yeah,
that might appear.
Yeah, so. Having met him,
he got Game. He was in Bulworth.
Oh,
he was in Clockers.
Black All-Star.
He had a nice little career, for sure. Character actor.
Mm-hmm. And he's a real chill dude, and I was like, yeah, cool. So that also...
Did you meet him in like a personal setting, or was it like a come meet Thomas?
My mom's friend's apartment. Setting. Only people really in that apartment are my mom, her friend, him, me and my sisters. And we just
had you seen this movie?
I had seen the movie before there.
Yeah,
but I wasn't gonna be able to be like, oh yeah, you played Luther and so I recognized the face more so than I had the name. But definitely became more of a fan, especially upon meeting him, like mm-hmm. like it should be with most celebrities anyway. Like, oh yeah, he's an actual person? Awesome! I root for this guy now. So that was cool. So yeah, I guess we'll get into it. What is your initial reaction having seen this movie now that you have seen it?
Well, I mean, my initial reactions as I was watching the movie were SD, what is this? The opening bank scene, and I don't remember the scene directly after it, kind of feel TV movie ish quality.
The graduation from high school, the graduation party. Because I think that's the first scene after the credits. Or are you just talking about everything involving Vivica with the robbery and then being fired from her job?
Just that set, how it was shot, because it was in SD.
Yeah,
I had to kind of break through mentally of thinking it looked like a 90s TV film rather than a real film. And I also think there might have just, maybe it takes a rewatching, but maybe there were just issues with that bank set for me, because a lot of the other a lot of the rest of the film did not
Yeah.
did not feel like that.
No, I can kind of get that vibe.
One of the things I was anticipating.
Yeah, I realized I skipped that one.
when we picked it last week, and I usually just run to the IMDb when we pick a film, and I just do a cursory glance. Mm-hmm. I'm not delving deep. I just kind of look, what are the main actors, and give me the first the one sentence byline of desperation drives 4 inner city women to bank robbery in Los Angeles. That's probably all I read. That is a consistent trope in these crime dramas that I was expecting, of group of women become so desperate just from the sheer act of living as a woman.
Yeah.
And thus are turned to bank robbery. I feel like that is a very used trope. Yes. And I don't know if this is the first film. I would guess that something in the 80s or 70s was the initiator of that trope, as most of our film tropes came from those 2 decades. But I was anticipating those things compounding on, but then this movie compounds on it. No, it's not just living your life as a woman, it's living your life as a Black woman.
Yeah.
And that first 40 minutes of this movie are hard.
Yeah.
They're hard. It is a painful slog. You want to slog it. It's doing it beautifully, but it is painful, and at times borders on like I forget the phrasing, but it's like emotional porn.
Not torture, but emotional.
Yeah. Once the crime drama part of it starts coming into play, this movie really picks up.
Yes.
And gets really interesting. I would say those were, in a nutshell, what I was expecting and what my initial reactions were as I started to watch it.
Yeah, I was expecting, or I was hoping rather, to really enjoy it, because I was like, I remembered good moments.
You wanted to bring out a banger.
Yeah, I had remembered favorably, which didn't favor me well the last time I remembered favorably, but that pretty much was my mindset with the movie. But I remember there were good moments, namely the climax of the film, and I was like, I'm just hoping this is as good as I remember. And initial reactions, while I could see the 90s TV film aspect vibes you got from that opening bank robbery, I had forgot. I still thought it was pretty like tense and like what's going on and everything, even if it was.
I think it's very well acted. My issues are with the lighting and the set.
Yeah.
Compounding with it being in standard definition.
Gotcha. So, like I said, that's probably why I got those vibes from it, and I can see where you're coming from. But that was intense, just and Dr. Cox being like, I know it's John C. McGinley, and great actor and stuff.
He's going to be Dr. Cox in this conversation.
Dr. Cox is Dr. Cox. He's awesome. When he gives her that whole, like, what's the procedure?
He's being very Dr. Coxy. Like,
it doesn't help.
Being very John C. McGinley in this movie.
He's like, what is the procedure if you got, a robbery? And, he makes her tell her, and he's like, so you know the procedure. And then in Fire, she's like, you gotta be fucking. I'm like, damn. Like, well, why did he do it? He got a gun to my head.
Yeah, she didn't do anything. That was the thing, is like, that was annoying me about that conversation, but they have to put her in that scenario. It was like, but it's not like she gave the money. She
Yeah.
literally did nothing. She froze because there was a loaded gun being cocked in front of her face.
Yeah, and based on that hunch that she was in it, that's the only reason they really tried to track them down so hard and found them in the movie, was off an incorrect hunch that she was involved in the first robbery.
Right. Racism succeeds again.
That also hit different. It was more, I guess, at the moment. The fucking Stoney's brother, when he gets shot.
I mean, yeah, that hits on a different level now. I would imagine.
Yeah.
I didn't see it pre Michael Brown or anything, but yeah, I would imagine it definitely.
I did, and it probably hit hard back then too. But I will say, with how extra aware we're made of it these days, it hit harder.
Yeah,
it did. But yeah, no.
I will say another initial reaction that I forgot about. The first scene we see Queen Latifah after the 70s graduation.
Okay.
When she's just in her normal character wardrobe.
Yeah.
I instantly was aware of her final moments on screen.
Gotcha.
I had seen her doing the Spandau ballet thing somewhere in that look with that hair. I was just like, oh, I have seen this looking Queen Latifah riddled with bullets before.
Yeah, and when I first heard her in that college graduation scene, I'm like, well, she's definitely playing a character in this movie. But her acting definitely improved as the movie goes on and stuff. But there was some line delivery where I'm like, you can tell this is early Queen Latifah, but
this is her first lead in a feature film.
Yeah, but there are other lines later where it's like, all right, damn, everybody gets something out of them. I think there are
scenes where she is really on it and doing some incredible stuff. I would say her doing that character in its quiet moments.
Yeah,
she is nailing. And I even had a moment at some point while watching this of like, oh, you love Queen Latifah. You as in you. Speaking to myself in my head. Like you loved Living Single. You're loving this. You're loving her in this movie. You loved her in Chicago. You might. I remember seeing. I'm on her IMDb right now. I remember seeing Taxi, the Jimmy Fallon
movie
feature.
Which the only reason I would have watched it would have been for Latifah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you're a Queen Latifah fan, Bill. And I realized, as I mentioned to you when we started, I don't know if it was being recorded or not, but the woman doesn't age. Like she should be in that conversation with Paul Rudd of immortal celebrities and jokes of hey, I found this picture from 1850 with Queen Latifah in it, because she
doesn't.
She looks the same.
I agree. Queen Latifah was also, like I said, but in this movie, I was a Vivica Fox fan when I was younger. Obviously, first celebrity crush and all. Jada Pinkett was right there too when I was younger because I remembered her look from this movie. I think what made her drop for me, I guess, as a kid, as shallow as it is, was she cuts her hair at the end of the movie. I'm like,
would she be able to do that by herself in a bathroom? Go from micro braids to the hair that she makes that phone call on? Would she be able to do that by herself in a Mexican hotel room with a random pair of scissors?
I don't think so. Oh, that's another thing I remember from that review I saw a few years back when he talked about her cutting her hair. Like she cuts her hair, and now she's got the Jada Pinkett regular hairstyle that she's known for. So it's kind of like a superhero origin story. We got.
Now that if we're talking about the ending already, I just want to mention a theory I was kind of toying with in my head of. And I don't know if this is unique to this film or if this is just a thing for crime dramas, but the final act almost becomes a horror film where crime is the monster or crime is the murderer, and then Jada Pinkett Smith is the final girl. Like it plays out almost like a horror film. Or the cops are the sadistic murderer in this scenario.
Good guys lose. But damn.
Boy, everyone dies except for Jada.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett.
How do you feel about her boyfriend? He does nothing wrong, and yet I'm uncomfortable with him. What is that? I question his motives every step of the film, but he does nothing wrong. He does nothing for me to question them, except for look like he's from the 1920s jazz club.
He's too perfect. He's smooth as fuck. He just comes in, he's
smooth as fuck. He's rich. He loves her instantly.
Yeah, and thoroughly.
He's completely cool with her being a poor girl from the projects. Like, just wants to swoop her up and take her away.
He wants to save her. He wants to save her, man. And he just like, I'll do anything for you, blah, blah, blah. And he like takes her out, like picks her up in a limo and is like, nah, that dress ain't good enough. Let me go buy you a rich dress. Like,
I don't know. It's kind of like, what I'm wearing is fine. But also she loves it. But like, and probably any girl would love to go on a nice shopping spree for a nice dress. I don't want to say any girl, but you know.
I mean... And
I would say a majority would be like, yeah.
And like I said, the extra smoothness and being him probably helps. Just like, here's the charm.
Yeah. Instead of like, hey, can I buy you a dress?
Exactly.
From this face? Hi, can we go to the store and I'll buy you whatever you want? You just have to wear it to this party I'm going to later.
Nah.
I don't know, man. From the first scene till the last scene, I don't trust him. I don't know what it is. I just don't.
Even when he doesn't actually like rat them out or nothing, he actually just leaves the bank. Like he knows what's happening. He's just like
he fully knows. He fully knows what's happening. He fully knows that he is like 99% sure he's going to get stood up at that restaurant.
He's just like, you better be there. And then he hangs up, and then he gets the cops out the building. He's just like, can we wrap this up? Let's go ahead and leave. Like, he even helps them in that regard. I mean, we know what happens eventually, but still, he bought them some time.
The only thing I didn't like about the ending was John C. McGinley seeing Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
They didn't need to do that. And it kind of ruins the character a little bit because at this point, Jada Pinkett Smith is a murderer. Like in his eyes, he doesn't know who shot which of his fellow cops. Yeah, but like there are a bunch of families that dad is not coming home tonight, or mom. And so there is zero chance that he would see her
and decide not to do anything
50 yards away in a very slow moving tourist bus and not decide to pull that bus over and grab her.
Yeah. All just because he's guilty about shooting her brother.
Yeah. I mean, that he's guilty about that and is determined to bring them in alive.
Yes.
Is what he wants to do. That's why that is his penance for what he's been involved with.
And I hear you, like he should chase him down, but maybe the fact that he's trying to, his penance is bringing them in alive, and he
And that's
already
fucking
failed
failed.
3 times.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of failing 3 times, let's talk about the first time it failed. The first step, that dude that just comes out of, because standout moments, whatever. So hey, we will change the category. Don't worry, people.
No,
We
yeah.
haven't stuck to a format.
No,
yet.
it can just be a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. So, dude comes out to fuck when he's like trying his hardest. Damn it! Wait a minute. Let me talk to him. He's got them unmasking themselves, so he knows it's working when he's talking. All right, put the gun down. Put the gun down. And then dude just comes
Everyone
out.
but Queen Latifah has their gun down at that point.
Yeah.
Like everyone but her. And
And dude just comes from around the corner. Ha ba 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 ba. What were you expecting? What were you expecting to happen there? You clearly see your like head cop telling you don't do something stupid, and then you only kill one of them while the other 2 are still standing, and clearly you didn't realize Queen Latifah had not put down her gun.
and it was like a machine gun.
Yeah, she blasted the shit out of that man too.
Mm-hmm.
Rightfully so, because what the fuck, man. Tashawn was not my favorite of the 4, but she ain't deserved that.
Yeah, she's a little bit of a sad sack as a character in the beginning, but she's got a fucked up, like all these characters have really fucked up lives, so it's
Yeah.
hard to it's hard to not, but yeah,
I
it's just like,
I empathize with that she does go through some shit with the taking the son away and the blah blah blah. But like when she was at that first robbery and Vivica was like, she ain't fucking do shit. I ain't giving her no money. I'm like, damn right. She fucking ran out the door.
Vivica.
And then she's like, I don't need that. I don't want that money. I need that money. And it's like, but no, you didn't do anything. I'm sorry.
We're just gonna gift you $3,000. That's an extra $1,000 for each of us.
Like, what the hell? I was like, if we do gift you $3,000, it'll be just that. But that was cool. I like the infighting. I like the gradual them each coming to the conclusion that I'm in. Let's rob a fucking bank.
Yeah.
Fucking Cleo was about to smoke from the get-go. Vivica's like, you know what? I just got fired. I know about banks. Fuck it. Meanwhile, Tashawn and Stoney are like, nah. And then Tashawn loses the kid, and she's like, didn't y'all say something about robbing a bank? I think I might be cool with this. And then fucking Stoney's like, oh, my brother lied about being in college. And I didn't lie saying he didn't have enough money. So I slept with a dude to get the money, and only for him to say I didn't get in college in the first place. And then he gets
if they're gonna
shot.
kill that kid, do we really need the scene of Jada selling her body to send him to college? Like, damn, like that's what I'm saying. Like, it starts to border on like torture to the viewer.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, he lied about going. I forgot he lied about going to college, and then he dies. All within like 2 days. Just boom, 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 and yeah, Jada's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's rob a fucking bank. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired of this bullshit.
And the scenes that always occur in TV and movies where somebody defiantly rips up the big check or burns the dirty money.
Yeah.
Like every time I'm just like, no, just take that money. It's still money. You can still use it to buy things.
Pretty much. No. Yeah, the movie was very 90s. Soundtrack and everything. By the way, I know it's one of my favorite songs to show up in a movie. Fucking Flashlight. I know it's not a 90s song, but that fucking song, just that beginning.
It had me so confused for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, did we just do do we just do a time hop? Like, are we about ready to see the four girls like becoming friends or something?
You think that's like, I've been alive, babe. Like, that always just puts me in a mood. Like, all right, I know what I'm into with this scene. Let's go. This is just a nostalgic song opening for me, despite the fact that I don't even like listen to it that often. It's literally just a movie song that's like, so yeah, that was my other initial reaction to the movie.
A flashlight.
Like, oh shit, yeah, let's go. But yeah, what was it? Oh, when they had the fucking lineup, put Queen Latifah in the lineup, and then like, who shot Luther? And Queen Latifah was being obvious as shit.
Right. I was like, dude, why are you putting on the same exact face that this girl saw you have?
And then she tapped the
But I mean, if the witness doesn't say that it's her,
and
then the cops.
To be fair, they make it seem like it's just because the witness is scared as shit of Cleo that she wouldn't, because she probably is, because Cleo's in there being obvious as shit. Technically, she ain't the one that shot Luther.
No.
So when the lady said, and they kept going, is the person who killed Luther in that room? No. Are you sure? She's being obvious as shit. You can just say it. No, the person who killed Luther's not in that room.
Yeah, she didn't even lie. I didn't even think about that.
Because Tashawn did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately cried because she's Tashawn.
Immediately fell apart.
She did. It was, shoot, you see Luther fall, and she's crying in the background. Which, I get it. It's an emotional moment, and especially if you're that kind of character, you're probably not ready to take a life.
She's a very fragile character.
Very fragile. Doesn't have to be one of my favorites just because I recognize that she's a fragile character.
Mm-hmm.
I like my women strong. But no, it was a great movie. So I guess what kind of role? Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say
standout moments and stuff.
Yeah. Another standout moment for me would be the scene where they're pretending to be Italian mafia bosses around the table. Yeah, at the building that they've been cleaning overnight throughout the movie. They're pretending to be that scene is hilarious. It is hilarious. They all do such a good job in that. I attempted to start a notes page when the movie started, and wasn't able to keep up with it because I was trying to type it out on my phone, and it's just not a system that's going to work for taking notes during a movie. I decided during this movie, but I got 2 notes in the first 2 minutes of the film, and that was SD only ? And looks like a TV movie. That was both of those were in the first 2 minutes of the film. And then I didn't put another note down except for the table scene / mafia, because I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. It was such a good scene.
I do love that scene. So yes, that was great. Oh, also, when I mentioned the climax earlier, so you get her getting shot. Then you had Cleo scene with the driving, which was, of a lot of things in this movie, was also always in my mind. Kind of like you said, you had saw her get shot. I have seen that scene numerous times.
Which one again? I'm sorry.
Cleo dying.
Oh yeah,
Queen Latifah.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen that scene numerous times, so I knew about that one. And then Vivica turning fucking Dr. Cox's words back on him at the end when he's like telling her, "Come on, please put your head down." She just decides, "No, fuck this." Pulls out, because I think it's because she sees Stoney, and she's also probably hoping that bus drives faster than it is. to drive away. So she's like, fuck it. She just pulls a gun and up to him. So she's like, what's the procedure when you got a gun to your head? Because at the beginning, what's the procedure? I had a gun to my head. I couldn't think of the procedure. So at the end, she's like, "What's the fucking procedure when you got a gun to your head?"
I thought she was gonna kill him. I was a little disappointed she didn't.
That would have been godlike.
Especially when he ends up seeing Jada.
And my love for her would have only grown. But yes, so she shoots. She doesn't shoot him. She should have, but she decides instead to run toward the bus and get shot down. And then you just see sad Jada Pinkett on the bus, which, like you said, we didn't need him seeing her. We could have just seen sad Jada Pinkett drive away, and gotten the same effect. Because it's not like we see anything else from him in the movie. We don't even see him like lying to the Force, like I ain't see nothing.
Like I said, it would be one thing if it was just bank robbery.
Yeah.
But at that point, we've watched a lot of cops die. And so even if in that moment Dr. Cox it would be impossible to determine that none of those deaths that he saw did not come from Jada Pinkett. And then and then compounding that, if she were to be caught, she's incredibly complicit in all of those deaths.
Yeah.
So I just can't see the character that we have established the guy who 110 minutes of the film.
The guy who on a hunch just assumed that this girl was in on a robbery
and started tailing her on his free time.
Yeah. When he was told not to, they like, damn it, you being racist. Like he was told by his black superior, don't be so fucking racist. We're not doing this. Oh, you think because she's a black woman and she probably knows this black woman whose brother you killed that we had to talk about. And now you want to arrest her for bank robbery on a hunch that she might know some other woman that has no proof that she's been involved in anything? No! And he's like, fuck that. So with him being that diligent, I see where you're coming from. And to be like, hey, I told you, all three of these women knew each other. Boy, yeah, it's good to be me.
but it happens, and I'm okay with it. It's
not like it ruins the movie. It's just one of those scenes where it's like unnecessary, kind of cheapens it.
You didn't
ever so slightly.
You didn't need that.
Maybe it was him learning his lesson. It's hard out here for a black woman. So he's like, you know what? It has been hard for her, especially. I've killed her brother, and then I killed all three of her friends.
Yeah, either that, or he in that moment is like, there has been enough death today, and this is only going to be like, if he's. Well, I don't know.
Also, if he pursues her, they probably shoot her too.
Yeah,
because they done shot every single one of them.
And there's a chance that all those old people are in the line of fire.
Also true.
So, but with that being said, then him being the mind of a cop would be like, I can't just let that person leave
on a bus full of old people
and continue to be as dangerous as I suspect her to be.
I'm just gonna hope she learned her lesson.
Yeah,
everyone you know is dead.
Hopefully she got one of the bags filled with money and I never hear about her again.
Yeah, that was also fucked up, the whole Luther taking their money, so they had to do the last bank robbery scene.
They had to do that last big job. I kept getting thrown off of the pace of the film several times. Like when they're doing their first robbery, I verbalize like, "Oh wow, already?" Feels like you guys have barely been planning.
Yeah, which is part of the reason TT ran out of that first mission, or Tashawn ran out of the first mission, because he's like, "We cased an entirely different bank. Why are we here? This isn't gonna work." And Stoney was agreeing, And then Vivica's like, you know what? Y'all right. And pulls out a gun and goes to fucking... And like I said, Cleo's been all about the smoke the whole time anyway, so she was going in after her. And
Yep.
And Tashawn's like, nope, fuck this. Y'all getting arrested, and ran out the building. And you just see her watching from a distance as they get away.
The car
yeah, no,
and had it running.
Yeah, no,
but she just left.
And she sat on the other side
street
of the
and
street
hide.
and looked like looking. I'm like, come on, you couldn't even getaway driver? Nah, Cleo's the driver. Fair. She busted through that fucking wall in the fucking
when she first left left the other car, Jen and I looked at each other and we went, she just did? Did she just bail on her friends? And then you know, we get a couple of beats later, we see her again and she's in a parking garage stealing that Jeep or that truck. But yeah, at first we were like, oh damn, she was just like, oh cops, I'm out.
Yeah.
And just left.
Well, I thought it was funny that they went in after the first cop had started interacting with the dude.
Yeah, that wasn't. I mean, listen, these movies have to be built around the criminals being smarter than your average criminal when they need to be, and some of the dumbest criminals alive when they need to be to serve the plot. and that's one of those moments where it's like, nope, this is out of the plan, so let's turn around before it even starts and check back again in an hour or something.
Yeah. No, they're like, no, we're going in. And then they're like, where the fuck is Claire?
They don't even acknowledge it. They barely even acknowledge that the security guard is right by their car and doing something off of his ordinary thing, and is not inside right now.
Because I was thinking, wait, did they like plan for did they pay a guy to act belligerent to distract the security guard?
That's what it's like the Ocean 11 style, like after the job.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, this guy's gonna distract the security guard so they can go in. But then I see a police car pull up to deal with his belligerency, and I'm like, wait a minute, this ain't good. I'm gonna need backup. I'm gonna need more cars. And then you see Cleo get out looking suspicious as fuck with her white gloves on and suit, walk right past those cops who are going to the drunk dude. And I'm like, the fuck is going? Oh, okay. Like I said, I had remembered enough to know I liked it and forgotten enough to know what was gonna happen. And that's magnifique. So, let's see. What's the next thing? What role would you play in this?
What role would I play in this? Let's see. Well, I am. What's so funny?
Nothing. Just the way you said it. Well, I'm.
I was gonna. I know where you're going, but I wasn't going there.
Oh, okay.
I was searching for his name to say I'm not a Blair Underwood type.
Me neither.
That's for sure.
Me neither.
So that's probably the most prominent role for that's the
most
the sexiest role, literally and figuratively. I think I could do a Detective Strode, Dr. Cox's part. If you're not casting on race, I think I could do a Luther pretty well. I could do a Dr. Dre pretty well. I could do it about as well as Dr. Dre did.
Yeah, Dr. Dre his acting wasn't the best. Yeah. He was acting weird.
He was at 55 59. Yeah, that was the number.
Yeah. You messing with my money though. Yeah, for me, I was like, because like I said, have met Thomas Jefferson Byrd and stuff and had conversation with the man, I would like the Luther role.
Yeah.
I feel like due to what I usually get cast as, I probably end up being like the younger brother that gets shot, Stevie, because I could do the younger brother role. A little bit of experience in that department.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like you as like I'm not smooth. Like I'm like this guy's smooth and cool. I wouldn't mind being this guy, but as the movie goes on, I'm like I don't have. I don't
No,
have that
we're not
level.
that guy.
I don't.
You're
have
not that guy,
level of
pal.
smoothness. No, I know
You're not
which
that
half.
guy, pal.
I know which half of the Orange Cast I was in.
The fugly half.
I'm like I'm well aware, but yeah. So probably either Luther or Stevie is probably what I would end up doing. If I could pull off Suave, I would definitely sign up for the Blair Underwood thing. Just a
I
cool
think
dude.
you could do it, Dr. Cox too.
Oh, yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
Dr. Cox, yeah, be serious cop man. Yeah, be angry boss man. Pretty sure I have some people that would attest to that being a thing that I could do. Be an angry boss man.
Angry boss man.
Well, yeah. So I guess. We'll go ahead and move on to final thoughts. What are your final thoughts on this movie, buddy? Unless you got anything else you want to say before we get to final thoughts.
No, just trying to gather my final thoughts here. I would say loved it. Little tropey. Most enjoyed Jada Pinkett film.
That is a very solid assessment. I liked it, yeah, because I will say I also enjoyed it. I was like, all right, I do not regret suggesting this movie. I'm like, thank you. Yes, it was great. I believe it is also my most enjoyed Jada Pinkett film.
Yeah, I'm scanning. I mean, her Matrix work, I wouldn't say is enough to
dictate as a
that's a Jada Pinkett film. Yeah, that's
it's more supporting role.
Yeah, that's bigger than anybody except for maybe Keanu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just looking at. I mean, this was really early in her career. She had 21. She appeared in an episode of 21 Jump Street. Then she was in Menace to Society. Then she was obviously in A Different World. And then she was Lyric in Jason's Lyric. And then she's Peaches in A Low Down Dirty Shame.
Oh, yeah, Low Down Dirty Shame.
Oh, no, this is pretty. She's going into her career. My apologies, because yeah, I've listed all those movies already, and then this is the same year that Nutty Professor comes out, which was a gigantic movie.
Jada was,
and I always forget that she is the female counterpart to Eddie Murphy in that.
I also forgot when you said, I was like, she was in Nutty Professor.
They're both in 1996. I know Nutty Professor made a fuck ton of money, so
yeah,
this is a good part of her career.
She was in her bag at that point, and it showed. She did a damn good job. I think with her as a focus like she was, I will say this probably is my most enjoyed Jada Pinkett film. But I would think I would need to see Menace to Society and stuff and all of that because I like.
Well, yeah, as we just went through a lot of her filmography. I mean, she doesn't get the opportunity to lead a lot of films.
Yeah,
is I think what we just learned while going through that. I mean, she's in a lot of ensembles and she's in a lot of supporting work.
Mm-hmm.
And this is this mid-90s era is really her
time,
her having some meaty roles.
Yeah, but no, Jada was good. I liked all the acting in this movie. Like I said, even though I noticed you could tell it was early Queen Latifah. The when she needed to be you know, the actors that she's known to be now, you know, great actors and stuff. She did it. I think everybody did a great job in this movie. I don't really have anything bad to say about it aside from like, oh, it's in standard definition. How dare you?
Yep, I will agree. I will agree. I'll even say, I will even add on that the moment the typical 80s 90s sex scene
Yeah.
was about ready to occur, both me and my wife rolled our eyes of like, oh, here comes the saxophone, and they even did that really well. Like the jump cuts in
Yeah.
and out of black
Yeah.
to
seeing
the
them.
sex scene
Yeah.
is to the beat of the music. It was all that was a really good. It wasn't just
Yeah.
an 80s 90s sex scene.
Yeah. F. Gary Gray did a great job with this movie.
I won't disagree.
And yeah, so yeah, if you want to find us anywhere else, you can find me, you know, also on this channel, also elsewhere on YouTube at the Whatever We Want podcast with new episodes every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. You could also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. And yeah, you got anything to say to folks, Bill? Nope. All right. So there we go. You guys, thank you very much. You know, like, subscribe, whatever. You know how to YouTube. I don't need to tell you. And yeah, as they always say, adiosness. White Ranger, the White Tiger.